Welcome to the Real in Real Estate Podcast, your go-to show for real estate success. Whether you're an agent aiming to crush it or a buyer or seller wanting the inside scoop, we're here to deliver expert advice, insider tips, and the real talk you need. Each episode, we chat with top industry pros to give you the facts, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive in this business. Let's dive in and make big moves together. Hi, welcome back to the Real in Real Estate Podcast, where we talk to the experts and get the facts, dispel some of the myths. And today I'm here with a fabulous guest, Chris Prefontaine, and he is a smart real estate coach. He has his own podcast, and he's written several books. I'm so excited that you're here. I see a sign in the background there that says 3 Paydays. That's one of yours. I love it. So thank you, Chris. Welcome. I know you're based in Rhode Island, correct?
Yeah, Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay. I want to check my notes here. You're also a Forbes Business Council member and 3-time 5,000 honoree for the fastest growing company. That's very impressive, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome. So I've got a couple of questions here I want you to answer for me if you can. And one of them, very near and dear to everyone's heart, is now a good time to invest in real estate?
Yeah, it's like if you go online and check with AI, it's like the most searched thing right now. Is this a good time? It couldn't be better for creative. So I'll give you some context here. I've been at this 34 and a half years. This fall will be 35 years. And I haven't seen quite the demand for creative or the understanding of creative real estate in general in the acceptance of creative. I mean, it's been around since, as you know, before banking, people were doing owner financing, but just publicly, much more openness to this right now. Now, there's a bunch of stuff driving that. So to answer the question. So everybody's hearing how rates and financing underwriting is harder now, right? Like buyers aren't getting obviously underwritten as quickly or in as many as the past. It doesn't mean buyers went away. It means they're not getting through, right? So that means they're stuck. And so we get to help them the way we exit our deals. We help the buyers have that ramp they need. That also affects who? Sellers, right? They're getting beat up because now the demand's going way down. So now I'm seeing and feeling we're in 82 markets with our students. So we get to see it's like a microcosm of society. Yeah. So you get to our fingers on the pulse. So I'm seeing that the deals are going up and up and up because sellers and buyers right now need a guide more than they have in decades. So it's a phenomenal time to answer your question if you know how to pivot with creative real estate, because every few months the market does eke and ebb a little bit and flow, and you got to know how to pivot. So that was a long answer, but the question is, the short answer is it's good time.
Good time. Well, I know you specialize in creative financing and investing. So seller financing is something that, I'm familiar with here in our market, and I'm sure it goes on in many markets. Yeah. It's a good opportunity for those that maybe are self-employed or maybe that have had some issues. They're trying to get back on their feet. Who else would be a good candidate for seller financing?
On the buyer side or seller? I could go either way.
Either way.
Let's do a little of both. So on the buyer side, yes, you hit a couple of real big ones. Like they need more time to save more. They need more time to fix their credit. They just left corporate. They have money, they have credit, but they're not bankable. Like I had 2 students, just in case the listener doesn't realize what that means. I had 2 students recently, high income earners, W-2, like $500,000. They're at this job for years and years. They made their transition to full time with us. The way we buy real estate, that was their goal. The second they left their job, they can't get a mortgage, not for 2 years.
Right.
The banks require 2 years of seasoning, new business, So since COVID, that's been record numbers of people leaving their W-2 and starting the new business. So that's a buyer that needs our pathway, a great buyer. On the seller side, people always say to us, Gene, they'll go, well, I don't get how you convince these sellers. We never convince. All we do is we're either solving a problem or we're helping them accomplish a goal the market's not. So for example, we bought our own building this way. So it's not just residential. We bought a building. The owner said, Chris, the realtors aren't understanding. I have a sign on a busy road. It says owner financing and they're bringing me offers. Like everybody wanted this building. So I said, what do you want? He said, I want owner financing over 20 years. I want it for tax reasons and estate planning reasons. He was ill. So he wanted to leave his family a cash flow stream. And that's all I did is go, okay, we'll structure that. So I didn't have to go through underwriting and banking and all that. We just structured
Right.
making payments to him. So, you know, they all have their reasons. And most of the owner financing deals we do are free and clear, meaning there's no mortgage on them. So these are people that are great to deal with. They don't need, quote unquote, the money. They just want the
Right.
most and they can take over time. So that's kind of the buyer and seller side. Really great question because people ask that all the time. How do you do that or how do you convince them?
Seller side, I have a question. Uh, would it be in general, because everything's a general answer or a general question, would it be advantageous for the seller because they can probably get a higher interest rate than they would get on their money in a CD or a bank?
Yeah.
So
It,
by
it,
financing, they still own the property, technically, right?
Depends how we structure, but the short answer to
Yeah.
the return of the money thing, some sellers would rather have us bump the price up like a premium and not have to claim income. They'd rather work on capital gains, right? Depending on their
Ah,
tax situation. So, like, if we do that, we're making principal only payments, no interest. So for them, it's good they're dealing with capital gains versus ordinary income. And for us, it's phenomenal because every month we're just beating down principal. It's like the best recession hedge,
yeah.
right? Making principal only payments. Phenomenal.
Wonderful. Well, now correct me if I'm wrong. I think you've been coaching for over 20 years. You've got like 30,000 people that you've worked with. Is how difficult is it for someone to make it from that 9 to 5 job into self-employment, into investing? Is that something that you help them with?
We do, and I'm not gonna candy coat this one. You know, entrepreneurship is hard, right? And
It
it's
is.
it's it's so I'll never say, oh yeah, it's simple, just leave because they leave the W-2 and I get comments like they're full time now with us and they go, oh wow, like there's nobody telling me what to do and I don't know what to do with my structure. Like it's an eye opener for them. So
Yeah.
many of our top people have taken anywhere from 17 to 24 months to make that transition and it's not easy. It's just not, but we've got a pathway now that is predictable. And so the challenge, really, in my opinion, Gene, is more of a mindset piece because,
Yes.
yeah, I can teach skill set. Like you can go on YouTube and watch 600 deals we've posted and go, okay, I get the skill set part. But the mindset piece is the difficult one. We just had a 2 day workshop here. We built a classroom attached to our office, and they come right in here. And a bunch of people in the room, like there was a pilot, there was a high income earner, regular W-2, and we worked and we whiteboarded their plans, and they left with some serious aha moments. But I cautioned them on what we're talking about that your challenge is going to be working on your mindset because you're bombarded all day with kind of garbage. And so it's going to be working on your mindset piece, which we do also. We have people in the community that do that.
Quick funny story, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before. When I first started in real estate, you go through the classes, you study, you get your license, you associate with a brokerage. Back then, everybody had a desk. This was long before COVID. And I remember getting my desk and sitting down at my desk, putting my hands on top of the desk, going, oh my God, what do I do now? Because
Yeah.
they don't teach you that in real estate school. So I
Yeah.
actually got up and started I invited top producers in the office to coffee. And I said, how did you do this? How did you get started? And that's really how I got started. I loved it. I actually ended up writing a book about those instances, those experiences. So, yeah, it is a mindset because there is no one telling you what you need to do, but you've got to be self motivated enough to keep putting one foot in front of the other and figure it out and get it done. And that's not what they show you on HGTV. On
Right.
HGTV, you show three houses or three properties and somebody buys something. That's not the real.
Right. No, I agree with you. And what you said is pretty cool because if everybody just took what you said and did that in every endeavor, I tell people like get in a different room. In your case, you were in the room, you just asked them. But
Right.
I don't care what niche you go into in real estate. Like I was a broker owner at one time in the 90s. And before I did that, I came out of a building business. I was kind of beat up and I went in and I asked the broker owner where I was going. I needed to do a lot of deals with my lifestyle at that time. And I said, how many do you think I can do? And he said, 10 or 12. I was like depressed. So then I went similar to you and I said, there's got to be someone doing more deals. I found a woman locally in Massachusetts that was doing 100 a year. I said, okay, cool. And I said, can I shadow you and can I help you? That was before I did anything on my own. And that opened my eyes, but it was because I asked to get in a different room, so to speak, right? Similar to what
Right.
you did. So in creative, I say to people, or I don't care if you're going to go fix and flip to the HGTV example, get someone who's been in it, but get someone who's been in it and has gone through some cycles. Like I unfortunately or fortunately have been through a bunch of cycles. You met my son Nick. I've been through life changes like that
Right.
that have happened. And so, but that's good because a student now comes to us and says, I got this going on in my life, or I got this going on. And I go, okay, I've been there. So here's what you do, right? So make sure you're with someone that's been through cycles.
Yeah, I actually started my career in 2008, which is everybody knows
Oh,
or hopefully
lovely.
remembers was the biggest downfall in our lifetime probably.
Yeah.
And people would ask me, "Well, why are you doing that?" And I said, "Well, I guess I got nowhere else to go but up."
Yep.
So that
Well,
was my attitude.
also, G, when you did that, you were going against the masses because everybody else was exiting, which is also one of my like, yes, do that.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. Here in Houston, one of probably the top real estate person was Martha Turner. She has since passed, but Martha Turner Sotheby's now still exists. And I got to interview her before she passed. And I will never forget what she said. You have got to, quote unquote, hit them where they ain't. So if everybody's going to the left, think about going to the right.
100%.
And that's kind of what you just said.
Yeah, my wife used to say, I can remember when I was in the brokerage world, but it's the same now. She still asks the same question. We've been together 40 years this August, and she'll say,
Oh,
something,
congratulations.
thank you. Something will come up with the news and she'll say, how does that affect you? How's that going to affect the community? And I remember I was a broker, like when they started getting pressure on commissions way back then, and said, how's that going to affect you? I said, it's perfect because it's going to flush out all the non-productive agents. It's literally like a purging goes on. And right now the
Yeah.
market's purging investors. It is. It's purging wholesalers. It's purging fix and flippers that are getting pressure, financial pressure. So frankly, I love it. It's the time where you can actually shine.
Absolutely, yeah, because I can't speak for anywhere else, but in Houston, we've got like over 40,000 agents. And yes, we're I think
Wow.
now the third largest city, but I can guarantee you a small fraction of them actually do it professionally. A
Exactly.
small percentage of them. The rest of them, um, for whatever reason they got their license and hopefully they're keeping up with things. But
Yep.
and now time for a short break.
Hi, my name is Greg with Graceful Moves Moving and Storage. And with over 1,500 five-star reviews, we're one of the #1 moving companies in the greater Houston area. We specialize in everything from local moves and long distance, packing and unpacking, storage solutions, and so much more. If you guys have any questions or if there's any way that we can serve you, contact us at 713-280-7990. That's 713-280-7990. Thanks.
You mentioned flipping. So I know you talk about lots of different kinds of investing, but flipping's all over TV. This company, this person's
Yeah.
whatever. How do you feel about flipping right now? Because I know at one point in time, this was back pre-COVID. Someone said, "Oh, it's not a good time to flip." Well, I disagreed with that. But what's your opinion on flipping?
Uh, okay, generally speaking, because we do them still. Like my wife and I will always have one project going on, not really for the business driving income, but for the a fun project. Yeah, I mean, we want to
Right.
make money, and I'm just saying we do like onesie
Sure.
twosies. We had a big Vermont project that took us a couple of years, and it was probably the best we ever did. So I love it. It's fun if you do it for that. But from a business standpoint, I just know that you've got to be skilled because it's getting squeezed with profit margins. And of course, you got a lot of people since the HGTV for the whatever, it's been a long time now, has come out. There's everybody wants to do it. You
Right.
just got to be careful. And so, because I went through the crash, like during 2008 to 12, I got really beat up badly. So as long as you're not, I learned a lot of lessons there. One of them is as long as you're not signing personally on bank debt, and a lot of people don't know how to do that without doing it. You just gotta be careful. It's never bad. It's just, I think there's a lot of pressure now. Number one, number two, in my opinion, it's like I'll call it transactional. Like you do a deal, you get paid. You do a deal, you get paid. Well, that gets old quick. Like it's like a job.
Right.
So the 3 paydays you mentioned behind me, like that was one of my things after the crash. I made a set of rules, and one of them was, you know what? I'm not going to be on that treadmill anymore. I want to have some money now, sure, but I want to have some monthly, and I want to have some long term. every deal I do. So almost every deal we do, we experience that. So there's again a long answer, but there are a few reasons why I don't focus on it, but I still play with it.
And I think you trademarked 3 Paydays.
Yeah, we
Tell us
did.
a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we did because, well, from a practicality standpoint, when I got back in, again, I was a mess for 4 years. I wished I reached out to mentors sooner, but I was a mess for 4 years. When I got back in it, and I said, I'm not going to do the transactional thing anymore, the 3 Paydays are on the residential side, because we can do any asset here with creative. On the residential side, when we exit, we bring a buyer in, like you said earlier, you and I were talking about, well, the corporate person that needs time for seasoning to get mortgages, et cetera. So they come in with a down payment. They just can't get a loan yet. We get that down payment. That's payday one. Payday two is I'm paying something to the owner or the underlying debt to the bank, and I'm charging that tenant buyer, we call them, something more, right? So there's a delta.
Right.
That's payday two every month. So I launch a property, I get now money, monthly money. And the payday three is all of the accumulated principal pay down on the underlying debt throughout the term of the deal and any markup I do. So it tends to be pretty big on the back end, 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. And just to give you a summary, so East Coast to West Coast, 82 different markets. Our students realize somewhere between 45 grand and 350 grand, all 3 Paydays per deal they do. That's a real strong
Wow.
average. That's been going now for, I don't know, 13 years.
That's impressive. It's impressive. Well, I want to talk a little bit about you too, because I know you have a coaching business. Let let people know about that as well. They might, I'm sure they need you.
Well, and I didn't ask you, but if there's a bunch of listeners that also are in the sort of the realtor world, I really wish I knew I was in it for 17 or 18 years. I really wish I knew the creative side when I was doing that because I had a
Right.
great experience, but I could have captured a lot more and been a lot more helpful to sellers. They can just go to smartrealestatecoach.com. I also have a gift for them to your very first question. Actually, you said, "Is it good now?" I want to give them like the blueprint that we're using right now, and it's free. I mean, no shipping, no nothing. You just put your address in. You can go to 3paydaysbooks.com. So the number three, paydaysbooks.com/Gene. And that way I know it came from your show. We give them that as a gift.
Okay.
Then
Wonderful.
that'll give them a little bit. I'm big on free, Gene, because there's just so much, especially since I started, so long ago, there was maybe 3 or 4 competitors. Now there's 200 and they're
Yeah.
bombarding people on social media. And I want to show free, free, free. So if they say, okay, that's an avenue I want to go, at least they did their due diligence for free. So that's our gift to you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Let me ask you a question also. How is, because this is on everybody's tip of their tongue, how is AI affecting your business, or how are you using AI in your
Mhm.
business, or are you?
We are. Couple things. So both from the practical real estate in the trenches area, and then me as an owner producing content. So on the real estate side, we use it as a check for comps. We use it to critique our student calls. It's a very
Okay.
time consuming thing, but we know that over the years, the best way to progress, let's say you're a new student, the best way for you to progress is for us to hear your live calls with sellers and critique them. It's super time consuming though, right? We have a lot of students. So the AI has helped us do that. We're building that better and better and better so it can critique calls. On my end, I have, because you run a podcast, I mean, I'll schedule a day of filming per week, per month for my YouTube stuff. And now I'll run it through, like I'll take a video that you and I might do here, and I'll run it through Chat GPT or Claude, and I will have a teleprompter script in 2 seconds. Boom. It's amazing to me. I'm hooked on it. And
That
I'm
is
low
amazing.
tech, just for the record. Like I'm not big with tech. My son-in-law pushed me on that, and I said, this is crazy. So it's improved our efficiency tremendously.
It's wonderful. Well, tell us, here we are. I have a podcast. You have a podcast. Let's advertise your podcast for a minute. Tell people what it's called, what subjects you talk about, so that they can tune
Thank
in.
you. Yeah, it's awesome. Smart Real Estate Coach Podcast.com. I have for years, we're on like, I don't know, 600 something episodes. I have for years made sure I kept a mix in there. Like it's not just creative because again, I'm under the school of thought of like get exposed to it all. There's a lot of great niches in real estate, but once you decide on one, focus. Like don't get,
Focus.
shiny
Yes,
object syndrome. So there's a lot of different
absolutely.
exposure there. We have pivoted this, as you and I are speaking, we pivoted to more solo cast for me because people keep saying, I want more of that. I said, okay, great. I'll do that. And then more of our community, because the community has grown so much. They want to hear from them, like who's doing the real deals and how those deals go. And so that's what we've pivoted to lately. That'll take a month or two to come out, as you know, but that's what we've started to focus on.
Yeah, the purpose of my podcast to begin with was educational. I'm really into learning and helping other people learn. And as you know, there are all kinds of people and skill levels and information levels out there. And I thought if I could bring the experts to the world,
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. So yes, I have all different kinds of people, different aspects of the business. And I just think podcasts are wonderful because I always say you can I keep mine kind of short, listen to a podcast driving from one listing to the other. So,
Yeah.
instead of listening to the same song 5 times, let's learn something. So
I love it.
I appreciate that completely. And I am a subscriber to your podcast as well.
Love it. Thank you.
Well, what else do we need to know from your world that you can share with the listeners?
I can wrap up a couple of the thoughts we just said with this, and it's simple but effective, I think. Over the years, I wish I had this when I was, younger, 20s, 30s. If you want any success in real estate, I don't care if it's brokerage, if it's creative, if it's, pick a niche, do this, 3 steps. 1, pick a niche that you can get behind for personal, moral, ethical, whatever reasons. Like some people like sitting behind a computer and flipping land. Some people like being a broker, whatever it is for you, it's okay.
Whatever.
Second, pick someone, as I alluded to earlier, or community that has been through economic cycles and preferably some personal cycles too, because you are going to go through them. We said earlier, It's difficult, Gene. So you're going to hit this stuff. It's not going to evade you. So find someone who's been through that, but also someone that you and I both know plenty of successful people that have kind of messed up relationships to get where they want to go, right? Whether it's spouse or kids, that's important to me. So when I'm looking for mentors, I want someone that I can relate to on that front too. And then third is the hard part. Sounds easy, but put on the blinders for 3 to 7 years. Brian Tracy, you're familiar with Brian Tracy. Maybe younger people wouldn't be, but Brian Tracy was on my show back during COVID. He was like 82 then. And I gave him my philosophy of putting on the blinders for 3 years. Now he's on my show. So usually they go, yeah, I agree with you, Chris. He said, no, you're wrong. I said, why? He said, you need 7 years. He said, Chris, I've been broke. I've been wealthy. You need 7 years because the first 2 or 3 years, you're going to really be awful no matter what you're doing. And then you're going to be adequate. And then you're going to have your breakthrough. And I totally agree. If I look back at all my endeavors, it's so true what he said. And, he's been around the block a couple times. So that's my final thought there for you. I hope that helps.
It does actually. And I have been told when I started, you need 3 years to really feel like you're on the path. Mm-hmm. Maybe not there yet, but on the path.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much. I think you gave us your, give it again. How do they find your podcast or how do they find your YouTube?
Yep. YouTube, if you go on to YouTube and just punch in Smart Real Estate Coach, you're going to get a motivational Monday, a deal structure Sunday, and a Q&A Thursday every week. And then the free package with our blueprint for how to operate in today's market would be the 3paydaysbooks.com/Gene. And the podcast is smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com. I appreciate you letting me do that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, these people need to learn. And one of the things when I wrote the book, one of the things that came up with all the people I interviewed, I would say 90% of the successful people I interviewed was you need a coach. You need someone to help guide you through this. It's unlikely you're going to be able to do this solo. So this is a great resource, and thank you for doing this for everybody.
You bet. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and good luck. Thank you for tuning in to the Real and Real Estate Podcast. I hope today's insights have inspired and empowered you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with anyone who might benefit. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to explore? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep moving towards success.